All right. Hi, so this is a land use committee meeting on Tuesday, March 12th, 2024. And my name is Ann Mazar and I'm the chair of the committee. And why don't we go around? Elena?
Hi, my name's Elena Brugos. I'm the select board member of the committee.
Frank? Oh, you're on mute.
Frank Nero, land use committee member.
Carolyn? You're on mute.
He's muted.
Got it. Found it.
Okay.
Thank you. Carolyn Barthel, I'm an alternate member.
And Barry?
Barry had a role of planning board representative.
And Peter? And
He's
you're on mute, Peter. No. Oh, can you not talk, Peter?
Yeah, he said he couldn't.
Oh, he did? Okay.
He has no mic.
Okay. So that's Peter Coffin, and he's representing the Conservation Commission. So did you get a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye. Do you want roll call vote or?
Sure.
Okay, Elena, aye.
Barry?
Barry, aye.
Peter? I think Peter says.
He said
Aye.
aye in the chat.
Okay, Frank?
Frank, aye.
Okay, and aye. All right. Since we have everybody here, Carolyn, you don't vote, okay?
Okay, that's fine.
But you may participate. So since we have, so since we have a couple of guests here, I think we should talk about those items. And why don't we talk about the Inman Trails? And Becky, why don't I share my screen so people can see the map, okay?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm just. It's like asking different questions than it used to. Okay, so I want to share content, include sound. Usually it asks screen. Need permission to share your screen. Wait a second. Sorry, I have to go through this whole thing here. I think they changed things. Fine, later. It's asking me a lot of questions here. Okay. All right. Did you guys see anything? No. Okay, let me try again. Sorry. Okay.
Yep.
Do you see?
Yep,
Do you see it?
Yes.
Success.
All right. So Becky, why don't you talk a little bit about what you've done, and you can refer to the map.
Which is weird because I can't see the map.
Oh, no. Well, you know what map we're talking about.
Yeah, I know what
so
it looks like. I sent it to you.
And you know what? As you talk, I can take my cursor, okay, and move it around.
Oh, that's okay. So are you showing the latest one version?
Yes.
Okay, so the flagged route with the white lines.
Yes. So Becky has flagged. We walked the trail twice. Second time, got lots of comments from people, and then Becky went out and flagged it all. And so now Becky, why don't you just kind of explain what you did? You can answer questions, and then maybe what the next steps might be.
Yeah, so we were thinking that with all the edges of the field that we could incorporate expanding the trail system up there. That was a thought. Then I presented it to Ann, and then we've had various meetings and site walks, and the last one we pretty much got it narrowed down to where we want to be. And so that route shows where the route's going to be. That little section in the corner of the overgrown field in red, I just did that because when I compared that map to our original one that we GPSed, I'm like, I'm off a little bit there. So either I just leave it there or I just move it down to straighten it out going across a little bit. That's neither here nor there, but I just put that in there just to point that out. During the site walks that we were talking, I did ask the width of the trail, and the people that were there had said 6 feet. I'd like to have it totally grubbed out to get all the small stumps and all the roots out of there, just so they're not growing back again. Did not discuss where the debris can be dumped, so that's a question I have. We did chit chat a little bit about the footing, and there's one wet area. And I don't know if you can remember where that is, Ann?
I think it's in here. It's like, when
That
it was
little
going
corner.
from one field to the other, and we kind of walked through the woods.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a wet area, but the other opposite end of where we went into the overgrown field, we went into another overgrown area and just did a small little loop down there to come back out into the field.
Okay.
There is definitely it's not what I would call, well, it's wet from the runoff because with the water running down in there. So I did mention that would be probably a good area to put in a layer of stone, put a layer of geotextile material on top of that, and then processed gravel on top of that just to keep it dry. We didn't talk about the surface for the rest of the trail network up there on the edges of the field. So I'm not sure what the preference is, if you want to leave it the natural soil and let it grass in naturally, or if you would like it processed 3/4 inch minus processed gravel for a more stable surface. So those are the questions that I had. And I do know that we're not to touch any stone walls or any stone mounds.
So one question I have is the area that loops around the field. Did you bring it up closer to the field? You know
The
how
overgrown
Barry-
field? Yes,
So
that almost matches. It's pretty close. The other map that I sent you was the GPX file of our original site walk.
did
So
you
if
send that
could-
to me recently?
Yeah, I thought I sent both of them to you.
Oh, okay, wait, let me just,
Let me check my sets, because I can send that to you.
okay.
Yes, I did send them both to you.
Let me look. Okay, all right, so I will,
So if you compare the two side by side, they're pretty close.
all right, so one of the issues was that we didn't want to go too far down in that one area. Here, there we go, that's the original map. It doesn't look like you pulled the trail up closer to the field. It looks like it still goes down pretty far in the woods. You know, the area that Barry was talking about, the deer, that's where they bed and all that.
I came out pretty much the exact same spot. It just, I went straight through. We just picked our way through for the easiest way to get out. So if you looked at the two maps, coming out, you'd have to really zoom that in. You can kind of see where it comes out onto the field. It loops, it goes up and around. I just made that straight. But we come out in pretty much the same spot. Because if you look where we came out in that original site walk into the field, you'll see a little, I don't know if it's there's a little tuft of something there, and that shows up in both of the pictures.
Right. Let me. Do people, oh, Barry, okay, Barry has a question.
Well, let's finish with that and then we'll talk about the material going around the field.
Mm-hmm.
My hand's raised for the material going around the field. I'll drop my hand. Just come back to me when,
Okay, well, okay, let me ask this question to people. Does this path look like it's going, in the way that everybody wanted it to go?
it's hard to say without seeing it. I mean, from this aerial, it looks like it gets wider when it gets to the field,
Mm-hmm.
as you were saying, Ann. I don't know if it's because of that stand of trees, if that stand of trees is that big or not. But if this is the route that we marked, that we marked out, that we moved back towards the upper field, then yeah, it's fine. Just look, the one on the left looks like it's narrower than the one on the right.
That's because the old one is more of a side view as compared to this. I use a Google Earth.
So this is more of an aerial view.
Yes, it's straighter overhead as opposed to the other one. But if you look in the straight down one, you can see that little tuft of green right there in the hayfield.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
You can see that. Of course, it's brown in the other picture, but you can see that in the other picture.
Right. I guess my concern is that where that, as you're looking at your map, it's the one that's looks like it's farthest west, the western part of the loop where the little red line is.
Mhm.
I guess it looks like it's in the same area that we walked and it's not pushed up closer to the field, because one of Barry's concerns was that it would interfere with the deer and where they have their, was it nests that he called it? I'm not sure, but
Bedding.
excuse me?
He said
Yeah,
where
where
they
they
were
bed.
bedded down.
Beds.
Yes. Yeah.
We had roughed out, if you look along that map that you look along the tree line to the far edge of that is where we had roughed out. We came back all the way up to the middle of this field. And that's it's pretty close to where we had walked. So where the white line is where I flagged it. And that's pretty close to where we had walked. I just straightened it out. In the other one, you can see a little hump up and then another hump up. And I made that more of a straight shot.
Okay, so the way it went originally was sort of more to the tree line, and then this one you pulled it back closer to the field. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I pulled it right back to the original site walk that we did in March of 2023.
Okay. Elena.
Oh, I guess I was just gonna say that was my impression, was that I guess Becky had gone further west in the when we walked together last month or whatever date that was, that was not on the blue line from the left, but it was further towards, like, deeper into the woods. So this is
Correct.
So this looks like this is back to, like, your white line is matching the blue line, except for that red line. Is that correct? Where the red line is actually just a smaller cutout because.
Yeah, the red line, I just drew that in there to try to match a little bit closer to the original blue line of the blue walk.
Right. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think it seems to me like the path that we walked last month or whenever, that one would have been like going more to the, I guess, sorry, it's hard to describe this, but more to the sort of that darker tree line. It was closer down to that darker tree line.
Yeah, to the far left, to the far left.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Carolyn. Up, you're on mute.
I now know where the mic is. Okay. I'm comparing the two drawings, the original one on the left with the blue lines looks like if you it goes deeper to the, what is that? Well, I'm just going to say to the right, and it goes past there. Whereas with the white lines on the right is actually a shorter trail. Is that accurate? Is that where is the new? Anne, do you have the cursor? Who has the
I do.
cursor?
Okay, so you're saying this one you think looks shorter.
Yeah, one seems to not be. It. I mean, it actually makes it a whole circle, or rectangle, or whatever you want to call it. It trail, whereas the one on the right with the white lines isn't. And it looks like the one, and if you compare the southern part on the blue lines and where the southern part is with the white trail map,
Yep.
there is a whole section there that is cut off, that is covered, it is included in the blue line trail. And is that deliberate, or that you're going to not have it be rectangular shape, or is it just going to be a one direction? I don't know. I'm just asking, why is there a reason? And right on the green one on the picture on the right with the white map, so where it says Inman Hill Wildlife Conservation Area, right about there, that should, if you compare it to the one on the left, the blue line picture on the left,
Yeah.
it goes farther south.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I think this to me looks like what we walked and we agreed on. I mean, the line that's way to the west, Becky, I mean, as long as you pulled it up as Barry requested, then I think it looks good. And I don't know, Barry, if you want to go up one more time to check that, but
what has she got there for flags?
Orange fluorescent tape.
Orange tape?
Yep.
I mean, if you marked it where it is, where we discussed and where you said it is, I mean, I can take a look at it Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Why don't you do that? I just want to make sure that we're, like on the same page, and we might be. It's just hard to tell from the map.
Right. Like I said, it could be just that stand of hardwoods. But getting back to she asked a question about the material for going around on the path.
Yep.
I think it'd be in our best interest to ask Peter Hawks what he wants along the edge of the fields, whether he wants it natural or, if he has a problem with gravel, because I would think he'd want it natural.
And Becky, when you say gravel, what do you mean? Like what, like large gravel, small, or what?
It's called 3/4 minus, so it's processed. So there's nothing bigger in it than 3/4 inches. It's 3/4 inches and smaller.
And it's gravel.
It's called processed gravel. Yes.
Processed gravel. Okay. And what do you prefer, Becky?
To me, I can go either way. It doesn't matter.
So, I mean, if we went the natural way first, the gravel could be added later, right?
Could be, but it'd be easier to ask Peter Hawk up front.
Oh, definitely. No. Yeah, I mean, that would ask him, but you would like to use the gravel because then the grass won't grow up as fast. Is that what you're saying?
It will eventually grass in. I'm tossing these options out to you guys. If you have a preference one way or the other, that's all.
Anybody have a preference?
I don't have. Like I said, I would just want to consult Peter on it and see what he feels, because he's leasing the fields.
Yep.
Okay. Does anyone else? All right. I can ask Peter that, and then get back to everybody just to let you know what his answer is. Mm-hmm. Peter says he prefers grass and go to gravel if needed. I would probably lean that way also.
Yep.
Start out with the natural, see how it goes, and then that might be fine. It might be, easy to mow and whatever, but
Yep.
I'll also ask Peter.
And back to Carolyn's question on, I know what she's talking about, where it says Inman Hill Wildlife Conservation Area. When we did that first site walk there, Carolyn, it was very, very thick in there, and we just talked about going down in there, but we did not walk through there because it was very, very thick with those briars, picky bushes.
Yeah, multiflora rose, probably. No,
That too,
Or
and
like a,
the canes for like the wild raspberries or whatever, but it was,
Yep.
so we didn't walk through there that day. Let's put it that way. So, when we did rough clear it, everyone on the second site walk did walk down through there. So that's why it's showing on this map, the second map, when we GPS'd it.
So-
Carolyn, if you
Quick
want to
question.
talk, you need to take your
Yeah.
mic off.
Yeah, I did. Okay,
Or put that
so is this thing going to actually tie together circularly from the label where it says Inman Hill Wildlife all the way over to the beginning in the middle of the white line picture over
Yeah.
to the right where it starts?
Yes,
We are
it'll go
to-
like,
but
Yes.
it's gonna be
it'll go like
connected.
this, Carolyn. Can you see my cursor?
Where,
It's at the Inman Hill Wildlife Conservation Area.
The one on the left.
no, oh,
The
yeah,
one on the
yeah, I
right.
see it. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yep.
then you can walk, you pretty much, I think it was, we walked down this way and connected.
So that
It's that.
will be
And then
connected.
you go up and then you can loop around and come back and then end up there.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
All right. Do you have any more questions, Becky? And does anybody else have any more questions?
I don't have any more off the top of my head.
I'll take a look at it Sunday morning and I'll email you.
Okay, that sounds good.
What I think, and that way there you can, we can get it settled.
Okay.
I noticed that Peter had a comment in the chat just about the topic of gravel.
About the go natural, but then add gravel if needed or something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
You saw that. Okay.
Yeah. And I, maybe my mic wasn't on, but I said I kind of tend to agree with Peter that to rather go natural and then add gravel if needed, but
I guess, yeah, I mean, that would probably be my inclination also. It would be great to hear from Peter Hawk, but I do wonder if the gravel could interfere with mowing in some ways.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I could imagine it being an issue. So definitely
But-
good to get his input.
yeah, I mean, I'd say too, like in some of those areas where he's not going, but it's really wet, then, or, that might work. Like if you wanted to add the,
Well, that's where she's gonna do the 3-step process that she needs to get it dry.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Because Peter's nowhere near there.
yep. All right. I mean, Becky, thank you so much for doing all this work. I really appreciate it because I know it's like back and forth.
No,
You
that's
know, but-
okay. Learn patience dealing with
It'll be
projects.
nice when
That's
it's done.
okay.
What, Barry?
It'll be nice when it's done.
Yeah, it will be nice, really nice.
Okay.
So
Well,
we'll
thank
get
you for
back
your
to you.
time.
Excuse me?
I says, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So Becky, we'll get back to you with the gravel part, but then after that, then what are the next steps for you? Like,
My next step will probably be start getting some quotes on how much it's going to cost for the job, how much it's
Mhm.
going to cost, how long it's going to take, things like that. And probably have to figure workarounds with Peter on that also, so not to be in his way for haying and stuff like that. So there's some logistics there that need to be worked out.
what was your goal like in terms of starting work?
No goals, just take it as it goes. That way there, I'm not disappointed. Summertime would be best when it's drier, but we shall have to see.
Okay. Well,
So-
let us know if, how it goes forward. I mean, even if you just email us, that would be great to know. And,
Yeah, I'll keep you in the loop, keep you emailed on updates and stuff like that. I'd be happy to do that.
great. Any other questions?
I'm good.
All right.
Okay,
I'll get
thank
back.
you. Thank you for moving me up too. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Good night.
All right. We have Annie Parnas here, and she has some ideas for a farmer's market that she was going to share with us. So Annie, unmute yourself.
Alrighty, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes?
Alrighty, sorry, I'm still
Hang
getting
on.
used to using Zoom
Wait a minute,
here, or
second.
to using
Yeah,
Teams here.
Oh, wait
So-
1 second. Wait 1 second. Carolyn, can you hear?
Oh, sorry.
yeah, I would like you to take the screen, the
Oh,
share down.
sorry. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
So my
Is that
name
good?
is, oh, sorry. There we go. Okay, so my name is Annie Parnas. I live over at 45 North Ave, and I was originally planning on setting up a farmer's market where I'm currently using the land to grow vegetables and fruit over at 131 North Ave, but that ended up being too small of a space for the amount of vendors that I've gotten, which I've gotten like 30 vendors and over like 1,000 people interested at this point. So I was thinking of, I wanted to propose putting in a farmer's market over at 3 North Ave, which is the town-owned property across from the elementary school. And was kind of just wanting to get some input on that and wanting to kind of see if there's anything I need to do to prepare for that, whether that's even possible.
So the property she's talking about is where the proposed senior community center would be, which would not take up that whole piece. So it could, I imagine there'd be one area of that property that it could go on.
Yeah,
So
once the senior center goes in, I'd be willing to negotiate with them and figure out how to reaccommodate the space accordingly.
do you have some questions, people? Let's see.
Annie, can you
Oh,
explain
H-
to us what
Hand
the
up.
farmer's market consists of?
Hi.
And what your
Oh,
thoughts
wait 1
are
second.
on what
Okay.
it would look like, how long it would take to, what you would be doing if you were going onto the land to set up the farmer's market. If you could just explain a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, so the farmers market, the way I have it set up is that it's going to be operating every Sunday. Probably like I have the tentative date at May 26th, but that can change if I need to delay it for any reason. And so it's going to be running from Sundays 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. So I would have part of the property for a parking area where vendors could park and people could also park who are going to the farmers market. And then the other part of the property, wherever it fits best, will be kind of where the vendors can set up, and they'll be I'll kind of mark out walkways and sort of different areas for people. I wouldn't be modifying the land at all. I'd just be using it as is, and just kind of use the fields as is, and just kind of have it so people can set up sort of in the field area, and then there'd be kind of an area in the front, sort of near where the road entryway is for parking. And sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. I just see HJC has their hand up, but if you're not done, keep going.
That's all right. We can.
Hi, I live at 4 Hastings, so it's a corner of North and the 16 road. And so my concern would be with traffic. I already feel like I live in a traffic vortex, and Sunday is the only kind of slightly quieter day. So would there be like a potential to have a policeman directing traffic if it's busy? I'll mute myself.
Yeah, so what I will do is I will coordinate with the Mendon Police Department and make sure I coordinate with the highway department as well. Make sure that there's somebody directing traffic out there. Make sure I have it so that that's not going to cause any problems. And yes, I do kind of share that sort of like a little bit conflicted about whether I want that, whether traffic flow would be a problem or not with that. But I will definitely see if I can. I'll coordinate with the highway department and also with the police department to make sure I have a traffic officer out there directing traffic and making sure that there's not going to be too much congestion because of that.
Is there any possibility of considering a Saturday? It's just I'm kind of like not loving the Sunday thing at all, you know.
Yeah, so I could definitely change it to Saturday. I originally had it on Sunday. I actually can't remember why I had it originally on Sunday. I think it may just fit better at the time. But yeah, I can definitely change it to Saturday if that works better. Because that's definitely that actually might work better for me too, anyways. So I think I may end up changing it to.
Yeah, just because my little corner, and there's not many of us on this little corner, but we deal with like ferocious traffic and motorcycle noise all summer long. So those would be my two concerns. Like having a quiet Sunday is a lot nicer for us, and because it's the one day of the week that we're not bombarded with tons of traffic, and also just, you know, I would hope that you would not have any music unless it's acoustic, like not amplified. So
yes.
No.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, I understand that for sure. Because I definitely. So as far as music goes, I did have somebody who was interested, but I don't think I'm going to have music right now because for one thing, because like you said, it's kind of nice not to have all that noise and music, and it's just kind of, for me especially, because I have a noise sensitivity, I don't want to have all that noise coming into the market as well. So I think for the moment, I think I will not have music. I definitely will not have music there.
Okay, yeah, like I said, I'm not opposed to people playing guitars and flutes and la la la. It's when they plug a microphone in that it all changes. So
yeah, definitely, yeah. No, it's kind of we don't want any private concert or any concerts going on there. That's definitely But I'll make note of that for sure, and I'll see if I definitely, for the moment, I'm probably gonna just not do music for now, just because that way I can make sure it doesn't cause too much noise.
Peter says, is there existing parking? It could get muddy. I know that Clough School uses it as extra parking. No problem with trying it for 1 year, Peter says. And then Elena?
Oh, yeah. So I'm just curious, Annie, if like what other properties you've explored for this. I mean, I guess I don't object to it, although I don't really know what the process is for like making this happen from the town standpoint, and probably, you know, there are probably some legal questions. But I'm wondering if you explored, like if you asked, say, like the Blessing Barn, because I know where they had the Lions Club fair, like that seems like that has parking and a field. But I mean, I know they stopped doing the Lions Club fair there, so I don't know like what was going on there. And then I did wonder about you know, I know you're familiar with the property on Hopedale Street and North Avenue, but that's, I guess it's meant to be the agricultural center. And I know that's where I believe you're currently farming there. But I guess is it that there's not sufficient parking at that location?
So to answer the first part of the question about sort of whether I pursued other parts of the other properties, I did ask over at the Unitarian Church, and I have them as sort of a backup option in case. But I was more thinking through North Ave because it has the most amount of space, and like I said, I have like 30 vendors and 1,000 people interested, so I want to be able to have enough space to accommodate all the people coming in and be able to not run into parking issues and kind of just, that's partly why I'm thinking of that space. And as far as sort of the second part of the question goes, so at 131 North Ave currently there's kind of the main area where I do the garden stuff, and there's kind of a second lot where the agricultural center was going to go, and tentatively I was going to put it in there, but it's too small of a space and there's not really enough parking accommodation on site to be able to accommodate that the amount of traffic I'd be getting in. So that's partly why I switched the location. And it's just kind of, so that way I can make sure that area, because that area is just too small for, originally I was only intending on I was anticipating getting 10 people and got 30. So it was just sort of like change of plans there a little bit. Yeah. So it's partly why I'm looking for other options.
Right. No, but so you mentioned the Unitarian Church, but did you look, I'm curious if you asked about the Blessing Barn, because they do have a big parking lot.
I did ask I did
Okay.
ask about them, but they could only do once a month, which I think would be more beneficial to have it once a week than once a month,
Okay.
because it's just, it feels like once a month is not really going to benefit the vendors as much as having it once a
Right.
week.
Right. I guess, I mean, one concern I have about the North Avenue and 16 property is, you know, as was mentioned, that's the proposed site of the senior and community center. So there's going to be potentially a lot of construction going on, like, and I don't know, so like that timing could affect it a lot. Like it probably, like, I don't know what it's going to be like and when that's going to happen. I mean, Sundays doesn't tend to be a big construction day, but it might still, I don't know, some of it might be blocked off. So I think that's going to be a question also.
Yeah, so this is kind of meant to be kind of this is sort of like, I mean, I guess my initial plan was to have it be a temporary space, but I will definitely be I'll definitely reach out to, I can't remember her name, but I think it's the lady who runs who's one of my friends is on the senior center commission, so I'll reach out to her and see if I can coordinate something with her, and as we get closer to I may have to move it to a different location and time if they end up having to take up more space for construction. And just kind of, for the moment, this is kind of just like, I mean, I guess if needed, I could work around the construction as well. So like that would be kind of something I'll work around when it comes to the construction of the senior center, and I'll be able to sort of coordinate with them and coordinate with the construction crew on site to be able to figure out a good plan that works for both of us.
Barry?
Yeah, the blessing barn is closed on Sundays. Saturdays wouldn't work there because they're open and it's a busy day for them, but they're closed on Sundays. So you might be able to get in there and do it on Sundays.
That's what I was wondering about also, but
yeah. I mean, I think my only hesitation is that I could only do it once a month, and I feel like it'd be more beneficial for sort of like for a farmers market to be once a week than once a month, because that way there's more of a chance for people to come in, for vendors to get more business in, and it's just kind of, from a business perspective, it doesn't make sense to me to have it once a month. I mean, I'd be willing to consider it as an option, but it feels like for me it'd be more beneficial to have it once a week than once a month.
Have you met with the Agricultural Commission?
I did reach out to them, and I think they haven't met for a while, so they were going to get back to me when they were having their next meeting. So I did let them know about that. I can't remember. I think it's I can't remember. Gosh, I'm blanking on people's names this evening, but
Ellen Gould, maybe? Ellen Gould?
I did reach out to Ellen Gould, but she referred me to, I think it's Catherine Clark, if I remember correctly, who's kind of more in charge of things now. I think Ellen Gould is stepping back from the Agricultural Commission, if I remember correctly. But I think it was yeah, Catherine Clark reached out to me and let me know and she was going to let me know when when the next meeting was for the Agricultural Commission. So I will definitely be meeting with them when their next meeting is.
I mean, I think the final decision would be the select board, right, Elena?
Yes.
But
I have that impression also. And I mean, I feel like it would probably, the question would need to be put to to town council about what liability issues there might be for the town to have that. And then I also do wonder about the cost of police, for example, directing traffic. There's a cost there. And so I guess I wonder about would vendors, I don't know. So I guess that would need to be considered also, both the cost of running it and then whether there could be any I guess advantage for the town. I mean, I know I personally like the idea of a farmer's market, but if especially if there's any, I guess, risk or expense to the town, what would be the offset?
Yeah, so I would be offsetting any additional costs that are needed. I would offset by sort of adjusting prices for vendors accordingly, and being able to come up with the funds ahead of time for that through sort of adjusting my prices. I mean, I think as far as the benefit for the town goes, I think it definitely has I'm just thinking to where I used to live in Natick, where they had the Natick Farmers Market in the center of town there. They had kind of they had it set up in the town common, and it was just kind of it's just kind of a good way to get the community together, get people together, get to know local farmers and local businesses, and kind of just be able to put a face to and be able to also help with the local economy, keeping small businesses going by helping to promote their business. And as far as I definitely am fairly new when it comes to setting up farmers markets. So I did reach out to Daniel's Farmstead in Uxbridge. I think it's
Blackstone.
Sorry, I'm getting my stuff confused this evening. But Blackstone, and I haven't heard back from them yet. But I'll reach out again to them and see if I can talk to them, and see if they can give me some pointers towards some of these liabilities that may pop up.
Yeah.
And especially since it's a town-owned property,
Right.
There's liabilities on the town part as well.
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, have you talked to any farmers markets that use, say, like, I think there's a Franklin one that uses their town common, like it might be useful research to find out what the agreement is with that town. I mean, often I know that like with the select board, people like to know like, oh, what precedent is there with another town, say, because it helps with some of the legwork. Like
I definitely will. I have plans, but I haven't gotten to it yet, of reaching out to the Natick Farmers Market and seeing how they do things. They've been running things there for a long time now, so I want to try and see what the process was, when they were first setting up, and what their get their input as well, because they're and be able to have more input from a established market. And because I definitely need to if I just haven't had the time to reach out to people yet, I gotta get around to doing that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, I know, right. There's the Franklin one as well. I don't know if that's still ongoing.
Yeah, I think I haven't. I'll look into that as well and see.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion, Elena. I think HJC had their hand up next, and then Carolyn.
Yeah, I can. In my younger years, I ran quite a bit of farm markets, and one thing that I always encountered as a stumbling block is that it depends on what you're selling as farm products. So if you're strictly selling vegetables and fruits grown, by the people who are selling them, it's usually not like that complex. But if people are, say, sampling things or distributing any kind of like home baked products or anything that is not a fruit or vegetable coming out of a ground that is being sold as a unwashed product, like not ready to eat, you are responsible for cooking it. The health department has to regulate it. And that's where folks really got into trouble, because you could say, oh, we have tons of vendors and they all want to do this, but it depends on what they're selling, how it will be regulated. So I'll mute myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and Annie, talking to the Board of Health, they would also be able to give you information on that.
Yeah, so I did reach out to them, I think a couple of weeks ago. I didn't hear anything back, but I'll reach out to them again and see if I can talk to them and see if I can coordinate, see if I can get their input on what they think of this, and whether they'd be able to accommodate regulating something like that.
Yep. Carolyn?
I know that the Franklin market farmers market has grown tremendously over the years. It's gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes up the whole common at this point. It used to be just one couple of little strips of farmers markets, but it's gigantic now, and it's more than just produce. It's often other kinds of products, but not. I can appreciate about the food aspect of it. It can't be cooked food or whatever it might be. There are restrictions having to do with the health department, but it is possible. But for it to be a farmer's market can be really successful, but it really has to have the right location.
Yeah, so I do have other vendors besides food there, so I will need approval from the health department for like stuff like baked goods and things like that. And so I definitely, as far as sort of locations go, I mostly was thinking 3 North Ave because that was kind of the biggest location. It's kind of close-ish to downtown area of sort of like, and along sort of along both Route 16 and North Ave, which get a lot of traffic flow coming through them. So that's partly why I'm thinking of that property, was sort of for the was kind of it's kind of a central location, and it's across from the elementary school too. So there could be possibility for kind of educational opportunities as well for the elementary school when it comes to sort of like learning where your food comes from a little bit, so to say. And sort of like that was sort of my initial thought there.
Elena?
Yeah, actually, so Annie, I'm curious if you looked into the drive-in at all. I know they had some sort of fair there at one point. I'm just thinking like daytime, they don't have people park. They have a lot of parking, but I don't know, like, I'm curious if that was one of the sites you considered.
Yeah, so I have not looked into that yet. I don't know how I would reach out to the people there, because I don't know if that necessarily would be the best spot, to be honest, because like I don't know if I would necessarily want it in that area, because I don't necessarily. I mean, it may work. It may be kind of like a nice addition, but I don't know. I feel like it's too busy of an area as far as Route 16 goes. There's lots of traffic, lots of high-speed traffic going by. It doesn't feel like there's really like a good way for people to be able to go to it as easily, as opposed to where 3 North Ave has the entryway off of North Ave, so that's a little bit less high traffic flow there, rather than as opposed to just right on Route 16, people are going down that hill quite quickly, and
There's a light at the corner too, but
yeah.
Carolyn, you're on mute.
Yep. Yeah, I remember how successful at the drive-in. It was kind of I don't know, antique sort of, not a farmer's market, but it was tremendously successful for a fairly long time. So if you had some big sandwich signs, if that were an agreeable place, and I don't know about the egress and entrance aspect of it. If you had some really big signs, market here, that I think that could really be a really good possibility.
All right, yeah,
I have to agree with the lady proposing the farm market. I mean, you've got a cannabis shop and a strip club going in down there. It's a little creepy. I wouldn't want to go there for a farm market.
Yeah,
that was partly my hesitation there, is that like I didn't want to mention the strip club because I try not to think about it, but it's like I just like at the same time I'm like I don't necessarily know if that's like the wisest decision to have a farmers market right next to those 2 items.
Fair point.
Especially if you're bringing other people into town to the farmers market. Yeah, that's not really the location you wanted to go to.
Supposed to be kind of a family-oriented thing, so that's not necessarily a family-oriented space, so to say.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? I mean, I think probably everybody would love to have a farmer's market. A lot of questions and things you need to look into, but it's exciting that, you're thinking of pulling it together.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you all for your input and for your and for taking the time to talk about this. And
yeah.
I definitely am definitely looking forward to working with you guys as well as the town in the future on this project, and maybe if not this location, another location, or just wherever it fits best. And
Yeah.
this is just kind of an idea for that location. It doesn't necessarily have to be set in stone.
Elena, should I give her Phil Sipley's number or email in terms of talking about that site? Because
I mean, yeah, I mean that could work. I mean, I don't know, like there's so much up in the air until we have the votes on the senior center. So like, I think there are, as you know, and there are the proposals for also having like the pickleball courts and things, so But so I
Well,
think it's all going to be kind of it's I think people might be hard pressed to make a decision about that land until we've got just a couple more months before we vote on that property. And then, but I don't see it as being incompatible with the senior center to have a farmer's market there. I mean, I think especially on a Sunday where the senior center activities tend to be weekday ones.
Barry?
I think she'd get at least one season in before that construction's going.
Okay, good point.
Mhm.
Okay, I didn't know it was that close by. I thought it was. I didn't. I guess I knew it was close, but I didn't know it was that close. So I
Well,
definitely.
The vote will be in early May.
Okay.
Yeah,
whether
May
it's
3rd and
full-
May 14th.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
gotta keep up
then-
with this stuff better.
Yeah.
But,
But the select board definitely is the group that would make the final decisions. So, yeah, and Elena's on the select board.
okay.
But,
Yeah, and I did reach out to Tom Morelli, and he was the one who referred me to Ann Mazar, actually, who was and he was he wasn't quite sure if we were about about the state regulations around town land, but he said he'd put it. That's why I'm talking to you guys, to kind of get the kind of like see if there's that I'm not quite sure how it works with I know he was saying there's certain regulations about the state has about what the town can do with their land.
that's where town council would come in. So like if you met with the select board, then they would be able to, at some point, once you get answers to a lot of questions, then, and the select board thought this was a great idea, then they could ask some of those legal questions. Would you say that's true, Elena?
I think that's true. I mean, probably, right, if you were to, go to the select board, Annie, you'd be asked some questions, and probably a decision wouldn't be made at that meeting without, right, following it up with town council. But I would say like as much research as, you can do beforehand, I think would help things. Because I think I don't really know. Right. I don't know what's involved with this. So like, I know I have these questions, so I know that others are likely to have them as well.
They're probably
Yeah.
gonna want,
Sorry.
go on, Elena.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, I'd be happy to like also like talk with you more and see like if I have like other specific questions and like to help figure out like how to get the answer. But because I don't know, like it's new ground for me. And I mean, I think Mendon has not had like a farmer's market on town property before that I know of.
What's interesting though, the conservation restriction that's on the first 200 feet and then goes up Muddy Brook, agriculture is allowed on that. So I would imagine
Okay.
a farmer's market could, go
Well,
on
that's
that
good to know.
also.
That was a question I had, actually, was about whether I could use that sort of Muddy Brook conservation area as well.
Yeah, let me just double check on the conservation restriction, but there is an area mapped out for farming. So
Okay.
I have to look and see. But
I was looking on the GIS map, and I was noticing there's wetlands in the back, so I would have to make sure I'm a certain distance away from those, I assume.
but the select board will want details, like they would want a map of exactly the senior center footprint, probably where the farmer's market would be, how it'd be laid out. Like they're going to want a lot of details.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I definitely will. I'll reach out to the Board of Health, and I'll reach out to a couple other different farmers markets in the area and see if I can come up with a formal plan to present to the select board. And once I have sort of a formal plan set up, I'll reach out to them and see if I can sort of see if I can at least sort of like propose the idea to them and see what they think of it. And I think Tom Morelli seemed like he was pretty keen on the idea. So I'm hoping
sorry,
that,
Tom Morelli's he's the moderator. So
okay. All right, yes, I definitely.
But so there's Mike Morelli on the select board, and then Tom
Mike Morelli.
Morelli.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's right.
Was it Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's okay.
Oh,
I know.
okay.
My names are all mixed up this evening.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I definitely, yeah. So that's who sort of. So that's definitely, yeah. So I'll reach out to them again and see if I can come up with a formal plan and present that to them and see what they think of that. And then I'll be in touch with you guys as well about sort of like about sort of any progress that I make on this as well. maybe there's a opportunity to pursue this further, to talk about this further. Because I definitely feel like this would be something very beneficial for the town, and I want to also be considerate of like traffic flow and like noise in the market as well, and be able to sort of accommodate things like, and be able to make sure that like that there's enough sort of precautions in place where I'm not going to get into trouble. So I definitely want to try. I definitely will. I'll definitely. Yeah, so I definitely have a lot to think about and a lot to consider.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing the work, and yeah, we'll look forward to hearing back from you,
Yeah, definitely. And thank you all for meeting with me and for answering my questions. And I hope to be able to hopefully I will definitely be in touch, and definitely feel free to reach out to me as well, sort of any additional questions that you have, and be able to kind of I will definitely, yes, I definitely will come up with, I got my homework set out for me, so I will be in touch soon.
all right, thank you, Annie.
All right, thank you very much.
Good night.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I had one item that I just wanted to throw out, that the FinCom is putting together their budget, and I'd like to ask for more money for the land use committee. Right now, we get 2,500, and I would only be asking for $450 more, but it would be helpful to have the extra money to 3,000. So does that seem like a good idea?
I'll make that
Comments?
motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
It's a question.
Just for clarity, the motion is to request the additional funds from the FinCom.
Yeah, for next year. There's a lot of, volunteers do the vast majority of work, but then you've got signs. Sometimes we have to check boundaries and materials for the trails. The beaver solution devices need maintenance and things like that. So, or the
Inflation,
invasive plants, but what, Barry?
inflation,
Yeah, right, true.
things cost more.
How long has it been the 2,500 a year?
Maybe like 3 to 5 years. Before that, literally we had $100.
Oh.
So that was a big step up, but yeah. All right, can we vote? All right, all those in favor, Elena,
Elena,
Frank? Frank,
Aye.
Barry,
Aye.
Peter?
Frank, aye.
Oh, Peter, I, okay. And I, all right, thank you. Did I mention that Jack applied for a mass housing grant? And it was for $50,000 for technical assistance on figuring out on a portion of 75 Providence, which is the paddock property that the town is hoping to buy, that we wanted to put some affordable housing. And so we put in $5,000 or for from the community preservation funds, and then they will put in 50,000. And so we got the grant, which is exciting, and they'll just help us kind of let us know what could be put there, what's feasible, and and then they'll find out what Mendon's needs are and this and that. So that was good news.
That is good news.
great news.
Then I have consider annual town meeting articles, but like, let me just look and see. I mean, we voted last time on the land use plan, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I guess one question is, have we voted about, say, the senior center proposals? Like, I don't know, like, I know they don't have to be, but like it seems like, it would be a use of the land.
Yeah,
and it is
definitely,
going to be-
definitely.
I
would be
mean, I
very
know
appropriate.
like that the article about the senior center itself is still being drafted. So like we can't, but I don't know if there's a meeting before the town meeting that we could
Well,
Oh.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, we could, or we could have a vote, like if the committee agreed that this is a good location for a senior community center and that we support the project, we could vote on that unless we want to wait for the exact specific
Mhm.
information. What do others think?
I think we should wait until we get a little more definitive.
So we can vote in April. We have time.
Once there's an article, yeah. And there's also the related recreational use that is being proposed.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, because we discussed that at the CPC the last meeting, so it's still ongoing. That's why I said a little more definitive once they get, things set a little better.
Okay, I'll put that on next month's agenda then.
Yep.
Is there anything else that people think maybe at some point or tonight we should vote on?
The whole question, Anne, about Isabella Genova.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just asking, I know she's working for the Concom.
Did we vote on that I know we discussed it last time, but did we vote on it?
I'd have to look at the minutes.
Yeah, I'm just looking.
I know we discussed it and we were talking, and I said it wasn't fair to her to have 2 part-time jobs if she'd be getting, she should.
Yeah,
They should give her a full-time job if she's doing instead of 2 part-time jobs.
So we did not vote on it.
But I guess to some extent it would be about, I think the question was whether you would apply for the grant to fund the position, whether or not, I mean, the position would be sort of independent of who would take the position.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if there could be somebody else.
Yeah, I would like to submit something to, wait, I'm dying. I don't have enough plugs here to have my second screen. Wait a sec. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to plug my computer in. We did talk about Isabella. She happens to be interested in it, and from my view, it fits in with the work that she's doing, the conservation aspect of the Conservation Commission. But anybody though it'd be good to have. Well, I wouldn't say anybody because I've had some people do that work and it hasn't worked out. I've ended up doing the work and then they get paid. And I don't want that to happen. I personally want someone in the position that will write the grants and be kind of enthused about it. I just don't want it like shoved into someone else's job description.
Right.
Which has happened in the past and that has not been good.
Right. No, that makes sense. But I guess I was just, my point was that they're separate issues. Is try to get the position funded is one question, and then filling the position is another question. And I mean, right. I think it's, I guess I hear Barry's comment about it. Maybe it seems unfair, but if she wants to do the work and it's, works out, then I think that would be, that would be great. But like, I think the first step that I see would be having the position and hopefully being able to fill it. I mean, like, with somebody good, because, but I know that's come up a lot, like before, that like the position needs to be sort of independent of the person who might fill it. I mean, it's just come up like a number of times, like getting more hours for a position as opposed to more hours for a person working in that position.
Yes. And sorry, I have to switch things around here. And I agree with what you're saying conceptually. And, but my concern is that, and this has happened also in this position in the past where, the Conservation Commission position where, you say, okay, they can work 15 hours, but then that person either has to work 3 separate jobs, you know, at a grocery store, conservation, and then they never stay because they're looking for a full-time job, or it's given to someone who doesn't really care about it. So I guess,
Mhm.
I agree. I mean, definitely the position, the 10 hours would be very helpful
Mhm.
for the green communities and, you know, energy efficiency, renewable energy, sustainability and all that, and the grant money that would come in from that.
Yeah.
So, so I guess generally I would imagine most people, I mean, I think the group agreed that the 10 hours would be very helpful for the town. So, I
what
mean,
is, so my question is, what is the first step then?
getting it in the budget, or the thing is, I mean, there's a grant that I want to apply for, so that would be seed money for this position, but the grant hasn't come out yet, and I'm waiting for it to come out. But
Okay.
FinCom's putting the budget together right now, and so I want to get it in there because I don't want a year to go by and not have it filled. I mean, right now there's stuff that needs to be done. I'm doing some of it, but like you have to do all this data collection, and it's just sort of sitting right now.
Mhm.
And so I guess what I'm going to say was trying to say is that we could ask for the 10 hours, but I want to say that it needs to go to someone that cares about the topic, and it can't be a part-time job of 10 hours for someone.
Okay. I mean, I think right, if it's framed that way, I mean, yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. I guess the question, I think you said there's a grant,
There is a grant
that you
that's coming
can,
out.
but you're also, but you were also looking to have, like a new position funded in the budget that, like, before the grant is available. Is that the idea?
I mean, I just, one way or the other, I want to get it in there, and I would say to FinCom and the select board that I plan to write this grant, but I would like to have it somewhere in someone's job description. And
Right.
and I also would like to say that Isabella would be a good person, not saying necessarily it has to be that Isabella,
Right.
but she's
Well,
looking
say
for
that
more
there's
hours.
that there's a viable candidate who already works for the town, right? I mean, so yeah.
Uh-huh. So what kind of, it would be nice to say that the land use committee, you know, agrees that the 10 hours would be useful. And I could say that in the way that you said it, Elena.
Right, that to have a person dedicated to the task. I see that Peter Coffin is asking about a job description.
Yeah, I have a general job description, but it would be taking care of the green communities program
Mhm.
and all that's involved in that. And I do have a job description from many years ago that I could, you know, bring back up, but it has to do with the data collection, the report writing for green communities to stay green community, writing the grant proposals, then following through on the projects and monitoring them. So that would be one aspect of it.
Mhm.
There's a lot of programs like the Solarized Mass that came through, you know,
Mhm.
coordinating those types of programs.
Right.
Right now, the town gets some of their electricity from solar. Nobody knows how much we use, what percentage of our electricity is covered by solar. Are we saving money? Nobody's tracking that type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe we could get more solar and the town could have more renewable
Right.
energy and save some money. You know, it would be those types of.
Right. And I know you probably said this last time and I don't remember, but what department would the position be in?
Well, I mean, I would say the conservation, but
Okay.
but
Mhm.
you know, if we have a general, then it could go somewhere else too.
But I mean, in
You know.
terms of budget, I guess the positions are all in a department.
So like like, what do you, like, what would,
I guess the question is sort of like budget wise, what department would like it would be under Conservation Commission, same as the current.
yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, because like another option would be like town hall, for example. Like, and I don't know whether like it would make sense to talk with our HR person about
Good point.
this.
Yeah.
Or it could also be under a building department, because you're recording information about buildings, some of it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and that would work too. Yes. Mhm. But it just needs to be in somewhere that it's logical and someone that's going to follow through and
Right.
and really and the email that I was going, kind of putting together, I was sort of giving some information. For example, so in the last 12 years when we've been in the Green Communities program, we've gotten approximately through grants $645,000 in grant money. That's a lot of money.
Well,
And then in addition, other energy efficiency programs, and another $135,000 we've gotten from them. So that's a total of $780,000 that we've gotten. And on top of that, with all the energy efficiency that we put in the town, the estimate of energy savings that in terms of dollar amounts that we save each year is $68,000 a year. So, I mean, I think the person's $10 a week would be made back by just following through on all these different programs.
Right. Yeah. So, right. No, I agree. And I'm in favor of it. I'm just thinking about like the logistics of it.
Yep.
And knowing like, having been at these budget meetings and knowing that like people are looking where they can shave things off. So anyhow, so like I think I don't know have you talked with like Jody, the finance director?
I've not talked with Jody. I've talked with Mike.
Okay, you've talked with Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Sorry, Jody is our finance director. Jody Kersey is the finance director. And then there's Jennifer O'Neill is the human resources. Like but you've talked with Mike Morali, so that's good.
So I guess it would be nice to have a vote, excuse me, from the Land Use Committee. Would you want to make the motion, Elena?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so I guess the motion, I do support I guess the creation of a position 10 hours a week to do the Green Communities coordinate. Sorry, I think I froze. Maybe Anne froze. Did I freeze? Sorry. Anyhow, so I think I would make a motion. I don't have all my words together. So I see Frank moving.
Barely.
Okay.
Everyone else is frozen. Motion to adjourn.
All right. So, right. I don't know who's frozen, but it's funny. Like you and I seem to be, yeah.
Yep. There's Carolyn, and now she's frozen. Oh.
Okay.
Here we go. We're getting there. Where's Anne?
Sorry, for some reason my internet just went off, so I had to hotspot to my phone.
Well, I think it might have been several people having an issue at the same time.
Oh, really?
Because Carolyn you were frozen also.
Yeah.
And
the whole window was frozen.
I thought it was me frozen, but then I could see Frank moving.
We were all frozen.
All right.
Okay, so I think what I was sort of trying to get the words together to do a motion, which was this is about creating a new 10-hour-a-week position to coordinate the Green Communities. Was it projects or
like Mhm.
I would say Green Communities Program.
Green Communities Program. Okay, so,
Yeah.
yeah, so hang on.
It'd be a little more extensive than that. I mean, that's
Okay, so,
fine to
right,
say that,
so I
but-
guess, right, so what else should, so,
Well, if we call her the Green Communities Coordinator, I mean, it can go from there, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it could be like a green communities and an energy coordinator or something like that, just
Okay.
so that it covers, you know, everything
yes.
else.
Okay, so I would make a motion to, create a 10-hour-a-week position as a green energy, so green communities and energy coordinator, with the job description to be worked out and the department also to be worked out.
Second. So that would give her what, 25 hours a week total?
It would be 10 hours a week. I mean,
Right.
we're not,
Happening
yeah.
on the Concom now?
Excuse me?
She's not getting hours from the Concom now?
Isabella, right now, I think they had money in conservation left over because they didn't have an agent for a long time. And so they're using that money to give her more hours right now. But she's doing conservation stuff. Oh, Peter says, okay. And
So is she the conservation agent?
she is, but she is
Okay.
part-time.
And that's, but that's a set amount of hours, isn't it?
Yeah, right. I don't know how many hours she has, but it's not full-time, but I think that they're trying to make her full-time.
Right. But
So-
she would be a candidate for this new position
Oh. Yes.
potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, any more discussion? Okay, Carolyn?
I just have a question. I'm just going to ask, is 10 hours going to cut it? And you know how to do the kinds of the kinds of recording of data. Do you think 10 hours is adequate a week?
Yeah, I mean, I would still volunteer and help.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
10
think
hours more that than we
we
have
don't
right
have.
now.
Right. I mean, I bet Bill
Yeah.
McHenry lives in Vermont and he's still helping, which is ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's like, so, and he's really trying to pull back.
Okay.
But I think that, I know FinCom's gonna say, what do we need that position for, you know? And so I think if we could get 10 hours and show that this is a really helpful position,
Right.
and then I would give that person a lot of information of what I've been doing and, you know, whatnot.
Right.
I think that 10 hours, yeah, would be good for now.
And then, I mean, and then I think talking about how there could be grant money to, you said there's a specific grant that could fund this, but it sounds like we need to create the position first
Well,
before.
we've got multiple grants throughout the years on green communities.
Oh, right, but I
Yeah.
meant like, Anne mentioned it, the grant specifically for a coordinator,
Person.
I thought.
Yeah, what Barry's referring to is that when we get the grant from Green Communities, we can set aside 10% for administration. And so that's how I've been sort of cobbling along,
Got it.
being able
Okay.
to pay Bill McHenry here and there, you know?
Okay.
And then he ends up just doing more work, but it's not sustainable. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
What happened to the affordable housing coordinator position?
So that is a shared position, and we have someone for 4 hours a week. The
All right,
Jasafa
That's
Chowdhury.
filled right now. When you said Bill moved to Vermont, I didn't know if the position opened up.
Well, and then also Jack Hunter and
Yep.
Dylan have picked up some of it. And
Yep.
so and then we got some money for like the housing production plan. And so all of that's like moving things forward pretty nicely right now.
And for our planners too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, so we're ready to vote?
Yep.
Okay, Elena,
aye.
Frank,
Frank, I.
Peter, I, Barry,
Aye.
and then Ann, I. Okay, great. I will copy you on the email that I eventually send. Okay?
Yep.
And I will be at the select board meeting tomorrow night, Elena, so,
Okay, great.
all right. Any other annual town meeting things. I mean, we still have next month to vote. So if you think of something, if you see the draft warrant, you see something that we should vote on, we can do that, okay? That's all I have for now, really. I have an executive session on here, but I don't have enough information yet, so.
Okay. Well, then motion to adjourn.
Barry's always so good at that. Is there a
Second.
second?
Hey, sorry,
Oh,
sorry.
Oh,
I wanted,
HJC has a question here. Yes?
hey, sorry, you had sycamore trees on the agenda, which is actually why I tuned in. Can you take it off the agenda if there's nothing new? Because I live in fear of someone screwing up the sycamore trees.
Oh, well,
Like-
I can tell you where it's at right now. So the tree warden has sort of taken over the sycamore trees, and he is doing some pruning to try to make them healthy. The Founders
Okay,
Park.
wait. Can you back up there? Because
Yeah.
when is he pruning? The pruning window is kind of closing. So
I thought that he was going to do it soon. I thought he might have already,
Yeah.
I think he might have already done it. No? You haven't seen anyone out there?
Well, that would be great, because if he's already done it, then I can rest assured for another year that no Nimrod is going to ruin the sycamore trees.
Yeah.
I'm very attached to the sycamore trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because they have some issues, and so
Yeah, but I mean, old trees have issues. I mean, in England, we have sycamore trees that are 800 and 900 years old that
That's
they
crazy.
have rotten spots and they have hollows, and we live with it and we just let them be. I mean, you can prune them back so they don't fall into the road, but America, like to cut everything down if it's got a bit of rot in it, and it just drives me crazy. But they're really such a feature of the town that everybody I know. The only thing they know about Mendon is the drive-in theater, the zoo, and the 2 sycamore trees. So it would just be like a travesty to ruin that.
Yeah, and there's also like a Founders Park budget, and so we've worked with Bartlett tree professionals to fertilize them and do other things to help them. But if you want, send an email to the tree warden and just
I'd be
ask.
happy to. I just saw on the agenda sycamore trees, and I'm always like, I get a panic attack every time I see that, because I'm like, oh God, am I going to drive home and see 2 stumps? So yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say that we're doing everything that we can to keep them up.
Okay, because they're really fine. They're totally fine. I can tell you, they're gonna have some rotten spots. That's just part of old trees,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely contact the tree warden.
Down that has a rotten spot, we would have no trees. So,
actually, are you going to email the tree warden, or would you call him?
I'd probably do both, because it is such a big deal to me. I mean, it's like this, I watch those trees every day. So
can you copy the land use committee when you do, just so that we know what's going on? And that would be
great, because they're
interested what he says.
Updated scheduling of pruning and all that jazz.
And can I just ask who you are, just so that or what your email address is?
Oh, sure. My email address is hjcharlesworth@gmail, and I live next to Founders Park, staring at the sycamore trees right now, and the Quickie Mart. So I have the Cook Holbrook house.
The what house?
The Cook Holbrook house. It's at 4 Hastings.
So did you buy it from the Wiersmas? Or the
Youngsma, I think.
Youngsma, thank you. Okay, I know where you are. I know where you are. Okay.
Yeah, I own that house, and so the sycamore trees are like a big deal to me. So.
Oh yeah, they are, and so many trees have diseases now and stuff and are dying. So yeah, we want to keep all the trees we can.
Like we've got beech leaf drop and oak this, and like I work at Harvard Law School in Cambridge, and so I get to interface with the Arboretum folks there. I had long conversations with they're like, oh no, here comes sycamore girl. They're like, really, they actually know of these trees, and they're like, we consulted looking at them once long ago, and they're fine, leave them alone. But
All right, well, I have those items
But
on just because, like, in case we need to talk about them, I just want them on there, but so I probably will keep it on there.
Okay,
But-
well, at least I
but
know.
you can-
And I'll email the tree warden and I'll just ask like what if he's already pruned the trees, so that I can rest easy on that one. And I'll copy you on the email, and then you can know too.
Yeah, that sounds good. Kathy Schofield is also watching out for those trees, so she's someone else in
Okay,
town.
great,
Okay?
good. I hope I have another tree hugger.
Yeah, oh,
Right.
yeah, you do. You do.
Okay. All right, thanks.
All right. So, thank you. So Barry, made a motion to adjourn. Second?
Seconded.
Okay.
Peter already said goodbye.
Okay. Aye, bye. Okay. So all those in favor? Aye. All right.
Aye.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Right.
Night.
Thanks, Anne.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you guys.